Presbyterian.
Yeah. There was another fellow, friend of his that I met today, who used to be on the board, Charlie.
Charlie.
So yeah, Boris,
Charlie Tefino?
everybody's muted by design, but we'll allow some time for the
He
public.
was on the board for like 20 some years or
So
so,
stay tuned.
back when.
Go and I
Hey,
landed.
Debbie.
She should
Sorry.
be coming out of the house.
Had to be quiet.
You're okay. We should, Debbie, can you hear us? I think.
Yes, I can. Sorry about that. um, okay.
No.
All right. Sorry, I'm not seeing, is Lyle's not on yet?
How are you?
Okay.
Lyle isn't on. He's not in the.
Okay. Okay. Right, sorry, I'm just had to log on my phone because I was having trouble with the computer, so I'll try to switch over when I can.
Okay,
Over
awesome.
there,
So
we
we don't have quorum here.
right, we only have 4.
We only have 4.
We can
And
have.
I don't think we're voting yet. We're not
Right, we
voting.
can talk all we want. It's just not technically a meeting, but we have free speech
Perfect.
at the
Yeah.
moment. Yeah.
So it's not bad that it didn't, that like it didn't come together tonight, because actually the item that we had on the agenda, Domingo was Estevez, through his nonprofit Uplift NYC, was going to come just get some information and present some thoughts about actually Plaza de las Americas, but they're not going to be able to make it tonight. So we really don't have a ton of agenda tonight. And
I'm sorry, Debbie. I'm just gonna head out. You know how to lock.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
thanks, Kathy.
I'm here every day at 9 AM. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you again.
Just to annoy you, that's when I get out.
All right, Debbie, so I know that we have some people in the public that want to make a couple comments, including Paul D, who wants to introduce his BX6 reroute plan to us, and Boris Rezis from 790 RSD. Those are the only two people that want to comment.
Yeah, well, I can't hear you.
Okay, then I'll be a little right. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say if Lyle shows up, I just thought we'll give him an opportunity, just like anything, I don't know how much he'd be able to tell us, but like on the bridge, the Washington Bridge, or the traffic calming at Margaret Corbin Circle, anything like outstanding. But yeah, that sounds like we're just going to end up giving time back to everybody, but absolutely. I would say, so Paul, we can promote Paul so he can speak, but that we discussed he had provided input on the potential to reroute at the BX6, and we discussed that, I think, at the last meeting. So Paul, if you want to take like 2 minutes and talk to us, and we can tell you a little bit about what we said at the time.
I believe Lyle is also online as well.
Great. All right.
So Paul, just give us a few minutes. We're gonna, as Debbie said, allow Lyle to give us some updates, and then we'll move on to the public session.
So Lyle, I'm sorry, did you get the message that Uplift was not able to attend tonight? Did you get my text?
Yeah, I just saw it a few minutes ago. Evening, everyone. Yeah, so jumping in. I guess if there are any updates or any questions you have, I can try to answer some if you have any.
Yeah. So I mean, I would just say I'm just running through my mind of stuff that was outstanding. If it's December 4th and we've not seen those changes at the implementation of the pedestrian safety stuff at Margaret Corbin, does that mean it's probably not going to happen for this season, or could it still happen because it's still warm enough, or is this not considered warm enough?
Ideally, it's not considered warm enough, so the rest of the installations that are set to take place should be taking place, I'd say, next spring. We're actually going through a list of projects, citywide, that we're going to try to implement next year and present to the board. So we should have a better idea as to exactly when, I'd say in the next few weeks. But yeah, it looks like the weather's turned enough so that any installations as far as lane markings, anything we put into the ground, yeah, it's too cold for that now. So
it's kind of wrapped up for the year. All right. Yeah, because they did not, they didn't get to Margaret Corbin Circle. And then, do you know at the Washington Bridge, I just haven't crossed there recently. I think the bike lanes were getting put down before that did happen, or am I wrong? Because you'd signed on it. You'd put signs up about that.
Yeah, so the signs are up on Laurel Hill Terrace. The plan ideally was to work on the bike lane prior to, again, the winter installation season ending this year. What we've done on the bridge so far, I think the bus lane is in. So on the south side, going towards the Bronx, the bus lane is in. The bridge itself has been milled and resurfaced, and we're essentially we're staging the area to pretty much prepare for the bike lane. So the bike lane is going to be on the north side of the bridge, a two-way bike lane. One lane of through traffic, I believe, is going to be used also to extend onto that for more pedestrian paths. So after that's done, we're also going to break through the barrier that's more or less separating McNally Plaza from the bridge. And then we're going to extend the bike lane onto Laurel Hill Terrace, which will then connect to the bike lane in Amsterdam. So to this point, like I said, the bridge has been resurfaced, bus lane is in, and we're making preparations. This meeting is being recorded. I'm sorry. You're making preparations for the next round, which is pretty much again to install the bike lanes and then to terrace. Ideally, that's going to probably happen in the spring, though the plan is also to do some minor work in the winter as best we can. But anything as far as lane markings, that sort of thing, not till the spring, but we will still be in the area as the winter months progress. So if anything does occur that's major, we can pass it along to you, but pretty much just minor things for now.
Sir, okay, so I'm thinking, am I forgetting anything, Lyle? I mean, I think, so just so you know, Lyle and I spoke today about that there is going to be some follow-up on the viaduct status, but we haven't set that meeting time for myself with Lyle and his bridge colleagues. So, if people remember, again, a meeting ago or 2 meetings ago, we got a new timeline, and DOT is going to try to provide some additional detail around that, which hopefully then I'll have more to share in the future, but that hasn't happened yet.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll be in touch. Hopefully, I'm going to try to see if I can do something either this week or next week. I guess with my colleagues from our bridges division, just to give some brief updates and have any questions the community board may have, and we'll take it from there. But yeah, ideally the new timeline is for November 2024, as far as the work being done. So any updates on that as well, we'll keep you posted.
So, Lyle, if you've got 10 minutes in you, I think some of the, I think the people that are here on MTA issues, but if you just if you could just sort of keep half an ear on us for 10 minutes, just in case there's anything else,
Sure.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
No problem. I'll be here.
Paul, hi.
Hi, Debbie. Thank you so much. And hello, board. First of all, I want to thank Debbie for being reachable and responsive to my proposal, and for you guys giving me the time to quickly explain what the idea is here. The BX6 Bronx bus runs up, as you know, maybe you don't, but as Riverside West, and then it takes a sharp right turn down Riverside Drive in the very curvy place where there's 2 levels of Riverside Drive. The lower level runs between 158 and 164, and that's 2-way, and then the upper roadway runs north as a 1-way. So the bus takes a sharp right down Riverside Drive, heading from 164 to 158, where it eventually winds up on the corner of 157 and Edward Morgan Place, where it picks up passengers and then goes across 155th to the Bronx. The issue that is happening is whenever there's a double parked car on the, I guess you would say, west side of Riverside Drive, the downtown headed lane, the bus has to come around the blind corner and pull out into the opposing traffic lane to make it around the parked car. And these are the double length articulated buses. Often, anytime there's a double parked car, the bus will pull out into the opposing traffic and will run its horn to warn oncoming cars that it's in their lane. And if there's more than one car or a UPS truck, it becomes a much bigger issue because the articulated bus has to make a much longer pass into that opposing traffic lane, which results in cars coming north not seeing it because it's a very circuitous road, and they end up coming to loggerheads. And then often enough, and I have video and photo evidence of these, what I call standoffs, where the driver in his proper lane, who's now facing the bus in its opposing lane, will sometimes get into actual verbal altercations, and people step out of the cars. There's a lot of horn honking. And even if there isn't horn honking from these traffic jams, the bus always blows its horn just to warn oncoming traffic that it's coming. So every bus, I would say 90% of the buses that do go down Riverside Drive blow their horn. So it's a constant noise issue, number one. But number two, the safety issue is very concerning. I've seen people getting out of their cars and bus drivers coming out of the bus and having confrontation. And I would imagine if you were to survey the bus drivers, they would say that this is a rather, not the most efficient way to get their articulated buses down to where they need to be. So my idea was, instead of taking that sharp right turn down a very narrow two-way traffic lane, is to continue up north from Riverside Drive West to 167th Street, where the hospital is.
60.
They go right up the
60
hill,
bit.
and it'll run east on 167th Street. And then it has two options. It could either go down Fort Washington, which is a much wider boulevard that already has heavy bus, I don't know if it's heavy, but also is already situated for bus traffic. Or it could go down Broadway and utilize Broadway's bus stops as a way of becoming a little bit more efficient and a better, just safer way to transport themselves from south to north and then south again. And the other fringe benefits would be that the two bus stops that are on Riverside Drive and the one on Edward Morgan Place would be eliminated, creating a little bit of extra parking in the area. And instead of the Edward Morgan Place pickup, they would go basically a quarter block from Edward Morgan Place to the Broadway stop that's already there for the B5, the M5, and pick up passengers there. So that's it in a nutshell. I have a map with the various drawings of the different routes and a couple of paragraphs of explanation available to you if you'd like to see it. Debbie's had it for a few months now to review, and I don't know if she's shared it with the rest of you. But I've been on Riverside Drive between 158 and 164 for about 13 years now. And it got to a point where, usually it's New York, it's noisy, whatever. When these buses come together with cars that are maybe sometimes 10 and 12 deep, and there's literally no way for anyone to maneuver for this huge bus to get around, what ends up happening is the cars that are in the correct lane heading north pull into the southbound lane behind the car that's causing the double parked car that's causing traffic jam. So now you've got 10 double parked cars, and then the bus finally goes through, and then all the cars that are backed up behind that bus go through, and then everyone gets to go around in their normal lane. So it just gets kind of crazy. It's very noisy. It's dangerous. And since we have a bus lane on this small neighborhood road, with a bus lane, you can't have speed humps. And there's a high rate of traffic speeding down the road.
Paul. Okay, let me jump in here. Can you hear me okay, Paul?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So I appreciate the thought and the time that you've taken with this. It is every inch of what you describe contested inches of roadway
I'm
that
sorry,
this
Debbie.
committee has seen.
I'm sorry, Debbie, you're lagging a bit. So it sounds distorted.
You're freezing.
All right. Tell me if that's a little better. Sorry about that. I think I fell off being on my wireless extender. So everything that you describe in the area. Sorry, can you hear me now? Is that better? Oy. All right. Leo, is my volume coming through at all now?
We can hear you, but it's distorted. So it's lagging and it's freezing up a bit.
Yeah, like I said, try
Alright.
turning off the camera.
Yeah, Jim suggests turn off the camera, turn it back on.
Huh.
No, leave it off.
Leave it on, leave it off.
All right. All right. So, yeah, I'm not sure why I'm having problems because I did get an making these a little bit better. So, and then just Leo, maybe if you need to translate, because I think you'll know where I'm going with this. So, we definitely know these areas well because everything you describe on Edward Morgan, on the middle roadway of Riverside Drive, on 165th Street near the hospital are things that one project or another over the past some years at CB12 Transportation has considered. So there was work done on Riverside near 158th. We continue to have a lot of issues around 158th. There's been proposals around the middle roadway. There was even a proposal along the way to make it one way rather than two way, but people didn't really want to see that. We absolutely, I think I can speak on behalf of the committee, actually really see the point of it does seem crazy that buses go down that road. And it's a two-way road and that people sometimes double park. So we're very, we're painfully aware of much of what you describe. And I'll also say that sort of separately, we're having another BX6 issue, which had been solved for a little while and it's come back with the recording of like the caution bus turning announcement that's making people nuts in some of the buildings because just the way the sound travels in that area. So let me just sidebar Bruce and say I did reach out to Megan on that just because since Ebenezer is out, I just wanted to take, like also tell her that, we really we're hoping to hear back some feedback on that. The issue is like this, redoing bus routes is not something that, community boards weigh in on the thoughts of the community, but sort of in normal course, there's not really a place to insert in bus route redefinition. But in theory, there should be an opportunity coming up. And at that time, CB12 would potentially uplift, let's say, some of the feedback that we have heard from individuals, and then individual residents will have an opportunity at that time. So each borough is going through a bus route redesign. For better or worse, the BX6, I think, was taken up in the Bronx redesign. But in all cases, I think it's fair for us when it comes around to Manhattan that like these issues, like they're some of our most real issues, right? Is something like that. But there's not a ton we can do in the short term. But we can certainly give voice when the time comes to, all the issues that we see in that area. And Lyle Blackwood, who's here from DOT, certainly on the, they can't speak to a bus route. Obviously, that's not their agency, but he's been part of, I'm sort of losing count now, 4 separate projects in that area or 3 separate projects. So we're in the midst of something now that's sort of looking at the intersection of 165th and Riverside, and there's problems there. And so there was a moment where they thought, well, maybe if we just eliminated people turning right there regardless, which then would blow this whole thing up. But and again, there's been work on Riverside. We hope that we'll still be coming back to the 158th. But there's not, I wish I could say something different, but there's not a lot that we can do in this instant. I've asked, and I keep asking MTA of when Manhattan would be kicking off. This is something that was supposed to happen probably, I don't know how far behind we are, but they still don't have a date for kickoff for Manhattan. They are concluding now the processes in Brooklyn and Queens. So we're the last borough to go. So yeah, I think maybe somebody else has something to add, but that's kind of the long and short of it. But we certainly will not forget about this when the time comes. And then you should also then, put it in yourself as well, because that's what that process is about.
Yeah, Debbie. Oh, sorry. I was going to say, just to jump in. One other thing, I'm not sure if we reached out to local precincts. If you're mentioning double parked cars in the bus lanes, that's essentially an enforcement issue. So those cars should be ticketed and essentially pushed off of those lanes. I don't know if you've reached out to the local precincts. I believe the 33rd in this case. They might be able to send a traffic agent over there to, monitor the situation to make sure that those bus lanes are cleared. The whole point of a bus lane is to have that lane cleared for a bus to get from points A to B, without traffic in the lane. So
there is no bus lane that exists in this area. It's literally just a regular two-way roadway.
Is it the middle roadway of Riverside from 158th going to, it's sort of like the equivalent of like 161, 162. And this is the one when you were doing all this safety work at that intersection at Riverside. I mean, well, and going west on Riverside or south as the case may be, that one part of the proposal to make it one way, because the fact of the matter is there's only one travel lane in each direction and then parking on one side. So it is creating that double parking then means not double parking. It means you're sitting in the traffic lane, in the downtown traffic lane. So
correct. And
but
the biggest problem is just the size of the vehicle of these articulated buses really is what creates the issue, because they're so big and there is really no wiggle room, because the other side is that little forest area, I call it, with the guardrail. So when they get stuck, and it's smaller cars and stuff are able to kind of you go first, but when the bus goes into the opposing traffic, first of all, there's the option, or not the option, but the possibility of a head-on collision, because it does come around a blind corner. And not being able to put speed humps on our road like they do on the upper roadway does create a lot of speeding in the area as well, and beyond the noise issues, because we also do hear the bus is turning voice a lot, because it's making its way around these parked cars, and as soon as it articulates, that little sensor goes off and starts announcing the bus turn.
Right. I see. All right.
So you mentioned I wasn't sure who else to go to besides you guys to start this, and I know it's a long process and it'll probably be a long time coming. I mean, it's already been about 4 months or so since I initially reached out to you, Debbie, to get you my idea. But you mentioned there was a Manhattan review coming up.
Yeah. Right. Well, so the MTA is going. I mean, this is was very. I don't know if this has ever been done, right? So the MTA was like, let's redraw bus routes or tweak bus routes to reflect places where population has changed over the course of, I don't know, the 75 years since they last changed the bus route, or try to redraw things so they're not so crooked, not making so many turns so that they can move faster. So this was kind of a not once in a lifetime, but probably once in our lifetime, sort of process. But again, there was an order to which they go through the boroughs. And I think a few things have happened. One, COVID, so like everything got really impacted on this particular project. But this is a massive project. And so there's a number of opportunities for public input. And at that time, we'll certainly be communicating it through our channels at CB12, but they have not announced when they will get to it. I think there have been pushback from communities about any changes to bus lines. And so I wonder if they've just kind of like slowed down their process a little bit to try to work through some of those issues. So us being the last one, we're the most affected. So I would say, just see if there's a way to subscribe to MTA updates and it would come through there, but certainly we'll be promoting it through here.
That's good, and I appreciate that because I went through the entire MTA bureaucracy trying to figure out who I would speak to about an issue like this, and there doesn't seem to be any public outlet for that.
Yeah. James Bosley?
Yes, hi. Thank you. I think, well, the other thing to consider is, as we saw with the movement of the M3 bus route change, there's going to be people living down on the lower Riverside Drive that are now going to have to go up the hill to Fort Washington or Broadway, or wherever they're going to reroute the bus. And that's a concern when people have wheelchairs and walkers. And so that might be an impediment to your idea, which otherwise I think is brilliant.
Right, I considered that as well. And there is one bus stop as soon as it finishes turning to Riverside Drive, off of Riverside Drive West. There is one stop there, which is very underutilized, but just around the corner from that, it stops before it makes the turn.
All right, sorry, I'm gonna have to jump in here. We actually, sorry, Paul,
that's fine.
We can't have a back and forth. It's not sort of how this works, but yeah, but that's the thing. Everybody puts in their suggestion and it's up to MTA to weigh things. Sorry, I'm gonna walk because I have to grab my charger. Bruce?
You're muted, Bruce.
Go ahead. It's my fault.
Oh, I'm sorry. Paul, we need to connect. I'm Bruce Robertson. I live around the corner from you at 800. And there are several people on this call tonight from 790. We've been trying to get the buses turning automated voice to stop, recording to stop for 2 months now. And so between us and you and your issue, which I was not really aware of, that you were having problems with the articulated bus, which makes a lot of sense because that corner you're talking about is like a 45-degree angle. And Maria Luna, who's also mid-block on your block, she knows a lot about, I talked to her the other day. She said she's upset. Her people are upset in her building about the same thing. So we need to get together and do what we can do through the committee and with the MTA, because it's very frustrating. And Debbie has been doing the best she can, but it's the MTA and they're a state agency. So, God bless them, but it's driving everybody crazy like you. That's it.
I know I friended you on Nextdoor, Bruce. So perhaps we can connect through there to exchange numbers and stuff. I'm sorry, Bruce, you're muted again.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I do remember now, but I'm getting it from all sides because I'm on this committee. So I think I can pull miracles, but that's not the way it works.
Just a little networking, neighborhood networking.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
There's a bus.
Yeah, that's it. All right, so Debbie, should we move on to the next topic, if we have any.
Leo,
Yes.
was there one person wanted to?
Oh, Jennifer Crew, she also wanted to comment on the
She's at
BX6.
790.
So let me promote her.
And
So she... Debbie, I can't hear you. Cut out. Sorry. Debbie, you still
No,
there?
all good. You got it.
Okay. I promoted Jennifer. Let's give her the opportunity to give her feedback. Jennifer, if you can unmute yourself.
Unmute. Can you hear me now? I think you can. So I'm at 790 Riverside, as Bruce, across the street from Bruce, and I live on the 10th floor, which is actually the 11th floor because it's a European one in our building. And I am woken every morning, this morning at 5:42, usually but right before 6, by caution buses turning. Reminder, I'm on the 10th, 11th floor. The sound, this is a residential area, the sound travels up, it's like a canyon. And as Bruce alluded to, in 2019, we had somebody who lived in the building who was high up at MTA, but I think she's gone now or gone from the job and maybe gone from the building. And we have been working, I mean, I started calling 511 in early October, and I put in umpteen complaints online to MTA, and I never have gotten any answer. And it's like 5:42 is not the time I want to get up. It also, it screams its announcement until sometimes 11 something at night. Then there's a little respite or I fall asleep. The buses aren't coming, but when it starts at 5:40 something or 5:50 something in the morning, then there's a spate of buses that make that noise. I'm sorry if this is boring to everybody, but I am going crazy. And I don't know where else to turn, because I did finally, after many, contacting every elected official, I did get the 511, the site for the MTA, but it's like a placebo, nothing happens.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Jennifer,
I
I'm
think
sorry.
Bruce.
Yeah. I mean, Bruce, do you want to take this, or do you want me to just sort of mention what we have going on the community board side?
No, Jennifer emails me every day and says it came at 5:42, and I say, yeah, I know, I heard it. So, we're all trying to figure out what to do. And we asked Ebenezer 2 weeks ago to go to the district council meeting and complain. And I don't know what happened. He went on vacation. So yeah, I'm complaining.
That's the third Thursday.
It was in November. He was
November.
he knew
Okay.
about it that week, and he said he was going to
Got
bring it up, and I don't know what happened. And we're frustrated. That's all.
Yeah. I hear that. Rightfully so. Again, I've sent a follow-up to Megan at the MTA, just saying that wasn't sure what had happened before Ebenezer went on vacation, and I just wanted to check in. My guess is this is the kind of issue that it is so local and so in a specific location that it doesn't have a way to break through in 511. And for better or worse, this is the right place to try to push it.
Yeah.
Transit.
And I apologize, but we don't know what the status is with Ebenezer being able to push it forward, and I haven't heard back from Megan. But we just have to keep pushing forward, and I'm sorry it's been so gruesome in the interim.
It's gruesome.
Yeah. I mean, just interject one point. The irony is we stopped it 4 years ago. It was happening then. And an MTA guy came out with a decimeter and said, oh, yeah, it's too loud. We're going to turn it off. And he turned it off. And here we go again. So, he's gone. The woman who we dealt with before is gone. It's a whole new cast of characters. We got to educate them.
We also have Claudia Wald. I believe she wants to talk on this topic. Claudia, you can unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hi, Claudia.
Hi. I don't want to talk about this topic. Should I wait until a later time?
No,
Yeah.
we're actually kind of done, so go ahead.
We're
Yeah,
actually kind of
go
done.
ahead. We've had enough of this.
What's that?
No, go ahead, Claudia.
Sorry. Yeah, so I'm on, I'm just a member of the public. I can just say whatever I want.
You've got 2 minutes. How
2
about it?
minutes.
So, I'm just concerned about the safety of like Broadway and 155. I remember once I called the CB12 about this area, and I was simply told it was the poorest part of the community board, which isn't really an answer to me. But like I was out last night and my dog was pooping and I saw a guy like trying to break into cars, at 3 a.m. Like you see there's all these broken glass, people trying to like they bust the windows. Like this is like an ongoing issue just for safety. And then the 155 and Broadway, the actual safety of that intersection is a little bit like anyone's guess what's gonna happen. So I don't know. I actually kind of like went up to someone and I was a worker and I said, what are you guys doing here? And he said they were gonna convert 2 of the lanes into bus/bike. So it'd be half as many lanes for cars on 155, which would reduce at least the amount of traffic. It's because there's so many turns in different directions. So you kind of have to just like haul ass to cross without getting hit by a car.
Thank you for your concern. So the first part of your concern or your statement, that's more of a public safety issue with car break-ins,
Yeah.
That I would recommend and advise that you attend the public safety committee and bring your concerns there. And usually NYPD attends, they'll probably be the best.
And then
support.
a better answer than just saying it's a poor area.
Yes, Jim.
Well, then, whoever told you that, the reason that this occurs is that this is all a poor area, and that's no excuse at all. You should have gotten that person's name. We should line them up against the wall and at least throw tomatoes at them. I mean, that's just garbage.
That's about the trash, and she said it's a poor area. Good luck getting
Right.
it.
It's a deserted area because it's near the
But
cemetery.
that's not, that wasn't the word.
I know.
Okay, so that's just unacceptable, number one. Now, 155th Street in particular is awful in a bunch of places. So there's that intersection, and I don't think it's the one you're talking about. It's further east near, where the bridge crosses. That's, where 7 lanes come together.
St. Nicholas.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's also crazy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the thing is, and you may have been hearing it in the discussions we've been having. And by the way, my name is Jim Berlin. I've been on this board a long time. We're constantly working with DOT, and some of these intersections are just very complicated, and they keep on trying, and the thing that, well, it's my view anyway, that many of the folks at DOT, and of course, there aren't enough of them, are very dedicated, they're very knowledgeable, but they're also very overworked. So, this all results in great frustration. So, but, by all means, keep on telling us stuff. And as Leo said, the issue of the break-ins and stuff, that's public safety. And you can speak to our public safety committee. And also every month, the 33rd precinct has a community council, and you
Right.
can address them also. And there you're actually speaking to usually the police, and,
Yeah.
and often the commander is actually there.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a very good venue also for the,
Third Thursday of the month.
right. At
Jody?
the precinct, right?
Yeah, at the precinct.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I just want to mention, I
This
parked my
next one, I
car,
don't think it's gonna be at the precinct.
Oh. Go ahead, Jody.
Special
I parked my car
ceremony
at
somewhere.
153 and I walked that stretch to 155
Yeah.
and it is deserted. And one of the things that really needs to be noted there is that there are no lights
No light,
along the
that is very
sidewalk,
true.
along that stretch
Yeah.
of,
From 157.
you know, it's that cemetery
Mhm.
area. Matter of fact, sometimes when I'm walking late at night, I will walk out on the street because it just makes me
Very
nervous.
dark.
So it is something that I do think that we
And the
need
problem
to-
is not ghosts.
Yeah.
Question.
Lyle, go ahead, Debbie.
Okay, guys, we have a lot of, there's like a lot of crosstalk. And I think I think Lyle is still on. I can say there was, Lyle, are you still there? Because there was, you
Still
guys
there.
sent stuff. You did some, like, was it a raised crosswalk or something at 155th and Edgecombe, I think it was. But looking at Broadway and 155th, I guess, I'm just looking at Crash Mapper. 157th and Broadway is definitely a hot spot. For better or for worse, 155 and Broadway has been, there's not anything showing up there this year, which is not a bad thing that people haven't been injured at that area. But Lyle, is there, like, would 155th and Broadway been included in anything in recent years? Like, there was something that was some improvements that went from there going north towards into the 160s, right?
Yeah,
But
we
I don't-
have, yeah, we have the project right 157th and Broadway. We installed left turn bay. I'm trying to think of anything on Broadway, at least in that stretch. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
City
By
bikes,
Oh, sorry.
that's the only thing. The city bikes issue was the only thing around there.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, right. Right. We were just all around there. So, you know, we always really appreciate that like people take the time and come tell us about this stuff. So Claudia, thank you so much for coming out and sharing that. And as people said, let me just echo, come anytime you want and share this stuff. It's not, we'll certainly, you know, like, we hold on to all this stuff that we hear about. And just so you know, I mean, there are, you know, DOT does sort of always scan to see where there are accidents occurring and trying to make things safer, you know, where they can, but this specific location doesn't have anything active at this time.
Can I just can I just make an added detail? Like 30 seconds?
Okay.
Yeah, so the specific issue that I personally have is when I'm trying to cross 4 lanes in any direction, because it's 4 and 4,
Right.
that you can turn right on 155 and it's green. It's a green turn and the light is red, which means I can't cross without being hit by a turning car. So I just run. And then when there's a car coming southbound on Broadway and turning onto 155, they're also green lighted. And this includes the BX6. So I also have to run if the bus is coming. So what like the it's like the number of turns and the alternating, like green and red together is like basically how I see it as a pedestrian. So like if everyone's red at the same time, then I can cross, let's say in 6 seconds. But if do you catch my drift?
You're saying there's not enough crossing time.
Hmm.
Because you're allowed to turn while cars going straight are red lighted. So I have to like wave down the car and like make eye contact with a turning car, so I know that they know that I'm hoping that they won't run me over whenever I'm
Yeah.
crossing, because they're allowed to turn.
Yeah.
So if you just make that a red light, like that would be a basic thing. And then also like tell the turning southbound 155, southbound Broadway turning not to turn, and then some like slower, like elderly folks, they would be able to make it across without doing a little jog.
Alright.
That's
I
my
have a
whole.
question
That's it.
about the specifics. Of the cars that can turn right, is that because they have a green arrow?
Yes.
They do have a green arrow. Okay, the thing is that, and one thing which I'm sure Debbie will mention also, is we could ask DOT to go there and double check the signal timing. But the point is, if in fact, there was always cars turning there because of green arrows and whatever, there actually shouldn't even be a crosswalk there, because that's not where you're supposed to be crossing. So that we could definitely ask DOT to look at that intersection and see if they can improve it. Because, we actually want to keep all of our residents, even the poor ones, alive.
It's a lot of like meeting and greeting, like, hi, can I cross? I can cross. Okay, nice to meet you. Like I'm still going, like I'm still walking, hit me, like nice to talk to you. Like, what, you're talking to someone in a car. So anyway.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah,
Not
we
supposed to
get it.
happen.
So,
All right, thank you. That's it.
so thank you, Claudia, and luckily you said that out loud on the record, and Lyle Blackwood from DOT is here. So Lyle, like, just kind of see if you can get some information, because that doesn't, like, just on when are, how much time do the pedestrians have for trying to cross? Because that does, none of that's adding up, but I don't want to like spend a lot of time wondering about it right now.
Yeah.
So just if you can
I
kind of
was just,
chase that down.
understand. Yeah, I was going to piggyback on what Jim was saying. We can send our intersection control unit out to this location to check the signal timing. There's also a phase where it's all red lights. That's called the Barnes Dance. If that's something that is feasible at this intersection, that is a request that you can make directly to DOT, either through our website. You can reach out to the community board. They can make that request to DOT on your behalf. And we can send folks over there to make sure that the signal timing is on the up and up, and or to see if we can install an all stop phase if it is feasible. I haven't heard any complaints as far as the intersection, this particular intersection, but doesn't mean we can't take a look. So I'd say reach out to the board, and they can make a request on your behalf. We can take a look.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you could just give the information of what it is now, and then we can then go from there about like what we're asking for. Or can I just say, can they just go out there? Because
yeah, we can go out there
Yeah.
just in general, just to see if if the amount of traffic is warranting the amount of time that it does take for pedestrians to cross. We can do that independent of what it is currently, to see if there's anything we can do just to update that. So I would say, if you want to make a request, either for us to take a look at the signal timing, or request for an all-way, say, red phase, for the stoplights. That's something that we can take into consideration and get back to the board to determine, if it's feasible or not. Again, we always give you a response more often than not, one way or the other, as to, if a request is feasible. So yeah, if the board wants to make requests,
Okay.
or above, it's fine.
okay, all right, I'll email you.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you so much.
thank you
Debbie,
for
we
being
have
here.
Debbie, we have one more public attendee, Ray Siegel. He also has his hands up. So let me give him
Oh,
the
now Boris is
opportunity.
back. All right, let's try to move this. It's like our non-agenda day is now turning into an hour-long meeting, which
It's
is
a full agenda, yeah.
Oh my God.
All right, Ray, you've been promoted. We're giving you 2 minutes. You can
Okay,
unmute yourself.
hi. So I actually came on because was attending first and foremost because I'm in 790 in the same line as Jennifer. So I just want to go on the record. This is a problem not just at both ends of the day with the announcement being made, but I work at home. A lot of people are at home, and so this pretty much interrupts, drives me crazy throughout the day. The bus. So, but I just want to go on the record about that. But I have a question to the board because I wouldn't say it's more than a pet peeve. It's really angering to me of how the pedestrian spaces and the sidewalks are no longer for pedestrians. And I realize the issue with bicycles and motorized bicycles and scooters is a very complicated one. And I can see where in some ways it's as much a public safety issue as it is a transportation issue. But I'd really like to know what the conversation has been and what's happening to dissuade motorized bicyclists of all kinds of two-wheeled vehicles from being on the streets. I'm sorry, on the sidewalks rather than the streets.
Well, I mean, Lyle, you can step in if I'm not saying any of this right, but it is not legal for any of that to be on the sidewalk. But when
Yes, I
something
know.
is happening that is not legal, then it becomes an enforcement issue. We don't have any control over the enforcement issues of sort of where the priorities are with traffic enforcement and including sidewalk. We could go on for hours, but that's not our committee, and that's the NYPD. And there's been a lot of this gets raised again and again. People feel vulnerable on the sidewalks, and rightfully so, because now particularly with the number of motorized things. So, but it's unfortunately, there's only one answer when people are doing things illegal, and there has to be some enforcement. So if you don't have enforcement, then people just keep doing it. I think there are, yeah. Lyle, is there anything you want to add?
No, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Yeah, any vehicles on the sidewalk and bicycles, the motorized bikes are considered vehicles. That is illegal and should be mentioned to the local precinct. As Debbie mentioned, yeah, this is something that comes up again and again. We hear it in every board. But ideally that's why we have the bike lanes, in order to have dedicated lanes for these vehicles. But in this instance, yeah, this would be an enforcement matter. So I would say reach out to the local precinct, or as Debbie said, there's the public safety committee. The officers hopefully should be able to hear your concerns and follow up on their end.
No.
I actually think that this could actually in some ways could be considered a public health issue. Because I don't know if anybody is keeping statistics on how many accidents there are and how many people are injured the way that they do with cars on pedestrians. I think it's just something.
Ray, I'm sorry.
I don't think this is purely, it fits into a lot of different places, including transportation, because pedestrians it's a form of transportation. And I don't think.
Sorry, Ray, we actually don't do back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I forgot. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's okay. And we kind of, on a non-busy night, we allow it a little bit, but I would say it's also, these are conversations that have happened a lot and everybody is frustrated. So I would say, which isn't an answer that doesn't answer anything, but I would say that it's probably worth touching base with your council member's office as well. So are you, wait, I'm just thinking about this.
Sean Abreu.
So
Sean
you're
Abreu, yeah.
probably Abreu. So, because they've all been involved
This is around the
and
corner.
Yeah, right.
just
Right along the
like
line.
to just keep it also to reach out to them and believe me, we hear it as well, and we do try to once a year do a like a meeting with PFD and to speak to Travis Smith and help them come back.
Yeah.
And as well.
We can't really
Yeah, we
hear you
lost you, Debbie.
anymore.
We have to
We
get
have to figure out why your connectivity is so bad.
on with
Yeah, we lost you a bit, Debbie, towards the end.
Hello?
Well, Debbie, Boris, you'll be the last
you know, public council
attendee.
member, and we'll
There we
hopefully
go.
have another joint meeting in
Yeah.
the future.
So like Jennifer, I came about the issue of announcements on the BX6 bus. So I have nothing to add to what's already been said. My only question is, so what are the next steps? So I'm very happy that everybody is aware and equally enraged about the issue. I just would like to better understand what's going to happen now.
Well, thank you, Boris.
Yep.
So based on the discussion, Debbie, the chair, reached out to Megan Molina, which is our MTA rep, and she's waiting to hear back from her. And it's a slow process, a slow burn. So, you know, we escalate it, take it to our channels, and then we go from there. So right now, we're waiting on Megan Molina to give some input, and then we'll give an update next meeting, I'm assuming in January, and we'll go from there. But we appreciate you sharing your concerns and attending the meeting. Again, as Jim and Bruce and Debbie mentioned earlier, you know, we want you guys to come and voice your concerns, brings things to light, and then allows us to go to the proper channel to kind of push it out to get some type of solution. So right now it's a slow process, but we're gonna wait on Megan Molina's response, and we'll have some updates in the next couple of months, hopefully next meeting.
Too far.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Less than 10 feet.
Okay.
Are we done?
I guess we're done, yeah.
May I move that we adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll
We have a
second.
second. Mary Anderson seconds. Thank you all for attending. Good evening.
Good job,
Thanks, everyone.
Leo. Good job,
Thanks, guys.
everyone.
Good night.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.